boys, and we never carried any health insurance. And they're all adults today, totally strong and healthy. And it's all because of this live food. And I came up here from LA with the intent to do that for my family. Because I grew up in LA, my parents grew our food. And I went through high school, never missed one day of school, never was sick, because we ate everything fresh out of our garden year round. And so I know that it works from experience. My grandmother raised 4 children as a single mom. Her husband was killed in an industrial accident during the Depression. And my mom, my aunts and uncles never knew the Depression existed. Because she lived on a small farm, they raised all their own food, she had to go for milk, she made clothes out of the feed bags because they were nice material. And they had an abundance. And she's a single mom, 4 kids, no money. But they knew how to live and produce their own stuff, you know. So it's just so basic. And see, all the human race until the Industrial Revolution lived as agrarian communities. And this is how everything's been, you know. And this whole Industrial Revolution thing is, you know, it's new. It's not working, folks. The evidence is showing this is not a good idea. You know, so we need to get back to the simple and just do things how it's always been done.
What's really sad is to see all the huge corn fields as you drive across the country. Just there aren't very few farms anymore. People don't live out where they can.
They're all big agribusiness, you know. And you see, in the old days, a farmer was diversified. He'd have an orchard, he'd have berries, he'd have, you know, vegetables, he'd have a cow, you know, chickens. And so if something failed, he had something else to back him up. So he's never, when you have 1,000 acres of one thing and you get a drought like they had, you lose it all. So it's not, to me, it's not economically wise to do this monoculture.
No,
it's just an insanity.
And to sustain it, they need the chemicals because you can't.
Well, so they're not putting it back. If they had grinded those corn stalks and put it back, they'd be fine. But they don't get it. They rip all that stuff off. It's just so insane what we do, and we're thinking like we're smart and this is technology and we're making progress. It's just bizarre because it's, you know, and it's all about control, really.
Destroying our health.
Money.
We're destroying our economy.
We're destroying our planet. I mean, everything's being and people. You know, I mean, you know, families growing up as families, you know, kids working on farms. They were adept. They know how to do things. You know, these poor kids sitting in schools today are brain dead. You know, they're punching into this computer. They're just
sitting around in their living rooms,
and they're all sick. They all have these issues because they don't move. They're fed all this junk food, and they're packed on buses. They don't get any exercise. And we walked miles to school. When we got home, we had work to do, you know, growing up. I mean, it's not like we ever sitting around like, you know, what do I do with myself kind of thing. It's like, and we're never sick. Had energy. We're in good health. It's like, it's just so amazing how, as intelligent beings, we've adopted this and accepted it and thinking this is normal. This is how it's supposed to be. Because it's not. So I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Especially young people, because you can change things.
Yeah.
You're young enough. You can turn things around. And I'm serious. You know, you can.
I hope so. People think I'm crazy, but
that's okay.
Time will tell.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. You'll have the last laugh.
You will. You know, and all the inventors and geniuses were weird. People thought you know, they were thinking outside the box.
Oh, they're ahead of their time too.
Yeah, and you got
a lot more people are coming onto this, though.
Oh, you wouldn't believe. I feel so blessed.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't believe the calls I get every day from all over the world, from people who saw that film who are doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, and talking about it's so cool. People are just. This one guy he's 70 years old in Missouri. He's a farmer. He's retired now. And what he does, he says, in my community, I got a lot of Hispanic women who are single moms. So he brings them out to his farm and has them help him work, and he gives them his food. He says, it was so cool. He says, I saw your film last year. He says, I've covered all my stuff with wood chips, you know. And he says, this year we had to go out with wheelbarrows to transport our tomatoes. We used to use buckets. We had to use wheelbarrows because we had so many. Wow. And he has this huge cauldron out there with a wood fire, and these women are out canning the tomatoes for all winter, you know. It was so awesome. He sent me pictures, you know. And he was just 70 years old. He's so blessed. I have never seen production like this. This was first year, you know, like, whoa. You know, he's just giving it all away. It's just like, it's so neat. So I'm really seeing an amazing, huge turnaround, you know, with a lot of people getting this, you know.
Yeah.
And it was just, a woman came here yesterday from Virginia. I was shocked. She said she lives in a city. In her city, some woman had lost her job, was unemployed, and she's growing food in her front yard, and the city came and pulled up her plants out of her yard because it was not zoned It was out of
That's
the
right.
Farm.
Man,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I
It's
flipped out.
getting
I says,
scary.
what? They came on her private. She's unemployed. She's trying to grow her food, and they're ripping her plants out.
She needs to be on food stamps, and they'd be fine with
Oh
that.
man, I'm telling you, that would.
She should move.
Yeah, I was just in the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like she's growing pot. She's growing food.
No,
you know,
you
to
have to do
feed
it
us.
according to the community
I mean, it's
code.
not something that's questionable. This is just live food. You know, it's not like it was, you know, big old tall. I mean, it's just vegetables in her yard, and this is illegal. Man, my brain was just like, I was losing that.
That's really
What-
sad. I mean,
That,
that's,
to me, this is criminal.
yeah.
She's trying. You know, she's unemployed. She needs to eat, and you can't. In the United States of America, you can't grow food in your yard. What? What?
It's a national security issue, I think, when you can't feed yourself. Who's supposed to feed that many people if we can't feed
control.
ourselves?
And if you're reading, paying attention, there's too many people to control. They're trying to eliminate population. That's what all this genetically modified stuff is all about. They know. FDA knew when the tests came back that it would cause allergies and all these diseases, and they knew it. And they put that in your food. You know how they label it? They call it natural. I mean, it's insane. But they're trying to eliminate. There's too many people to control. They're trying to reduce population.
Have you had anybody ask you, where you had to fill out a form and send it into the government, that how much food you were growing on your
You know, I'm so
property?
glad you asked. And this is something that I think is just so powerful. And this is a spiritual element that's happening. Everyone I know in town here who has a garden and goes to farmers markets all got letters from the federal government saying,
I did too.
you got to tell us what you're growing and what you're selling. And if you don't, all my friends threw it in the wood stove. None of them responded.
The wood stove, I love it.
They
Well,
burnt the thing.
they sounded like if you did, you'd be prosecuted.
They're coming to your door. I'm going to find out.
Yeah.
But here's what's happening. They're seeing this move. Farmers markets are taking the country over. People are waking up. The stuff in the store is poisonous. Farmers markets, I know where it's coming from, and it's a developing community, and all of a sudden on a cash basis, and the
Yeah.
government's realizing, like, whoa, this is a huge economy we're not tied into, and they're wanting to get into it because this is huge, and everybody's going there. But I was so blessed. I never got a letter from them. You know why? I sell nothing. I give it all away.